ब्रह्मणस्पदानुस्पृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्
प्रणो देवी सरस्वती
वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती
प्रभतु। गणेशाय नमः।
सरस्वत्यै नमः।
श्रीगुरुभ्यो
श्रीगुरुभ्यो
नमः।
नमः। हरिः ओम्।
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Invoking the presence and blessings of the divine. Dear Dr. Pawan, Dr. Sapna, and all the participants, welcome to all of you for the third day proceedings of our online faculty development program, to be introducing us to classical mechanics simulations using XCOS. Today we have two speakers, Dr. Pawan Sharma and Dr. Sapna Sharma. So Dr. Pawan Sharma will be taking off from where I left yesterday. Yesterday we discussed the simple harmonic oscillator, and today he will be introducing a resistive force, okay, and discuss the various aspects of it and how it affects the system. And that will be followed by Dr. Sapna Sharma, who will be discussing the forced oscillator and how to obtain the resonance curves for different mu. So I hope you will learn something new from these two speakers. Dr. Pawan Sharma is currently our Executive Council member of IAPT RC3, and he is an associate professor in Government College Solan. And of course, we are associated with each other from, I think, more than 14-15 years now. Okay, so it's a pleasure to be always with interacting with Dr. Pawan. Even at this age, he is a very, very lucid learner. Regularly he puts effort to learn, and I think that is a real inspiration, I think, for all of us, that age is just a number and learning is a lifelong activity. With these few words, I request Dr. Pawan Sharma to begin his lecture.
Thank you, Shastri sir. I welcome all the participants on this day 3 of faculty development program. On the day 1, Professor Ahluwalia talked about mathematical and computational thinking, and on day 2, Dr. Shastri talked about simulation methodology and model-based simulation using simple harmonic oscillator. Today on this day 3, I shall be talking about the damped harmonic oscillator. So I hope all of you are ready, and let us start. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah,
Is
now
it
you can
visible,
make it
sir?
into presentation mode. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
It's seen clearly. Yeah.
So title of my presentation is Simulation of Damped Harmonic Oscillator. So equation of undamped harmonic oscillator, that is when no damping is present, is x double dot plus omega square x equal to 0. There x is displacement and x double dot is d square x upon dt square, and omega is the angular frequency. Solution of this equation is x equal to a cos omega t plus phi. Here a is amplitude and omega is frequency 2 pi f. To solve it in x cos, we need to fix initial conditions in x cos. First, we will take velocity in first integrator as x equal at time equal to 0 as 0. Displacement in second integrator as 2 units at t equal to 0. Frequency f is chosen as 1 Hertz in gain block to keep things simple. Angular frequency omega will be equal to 2 pi f, where f is 1 Hertz. So it will be written as 2 star percentage pi star 1, and it comes out to be 6.284 approximately. Further settings are total integration time is taken as 30 seconds in simulation setup, and this value is same as the refresh period in scope. Yes. So this is the setup. Here you can see this is first integrator, and this is second integrator. This is the clock, and this is the C scope. This is the gain block. And as you know the methodology in solving x cos, the double differential term, that is x double dot, is kept on left hand side, and this omega square x is taken to right hand side with a minus sign, and this is how we solve it in x cos. So the output x is equal to a cos omega t plus phi, which is displayed like this as was shown by Professor Sastry yesterday, and the velocity which is equal to a omega sin omega t plus phi. After differentiating it is a omega. So a, as we have taken a as 2 and omega as 2 pi f, which is 6.284, so multiplied by 2 it is around 12. So you can see it here, minimum and maximum are minus 12 to 12, and displacement is taken as 2, x equal to 2. So you can see on the first graph it is 2 minus 2 to 2, the range. Now let us add the damping effects. So now as when you add damping in damped harmonic oscillator, so our equation comes out to be x double dot plus 2p x dot plus omega square x equal to 0. We all know that this damping depends upon velocity dx upon dt. So, and this p is damping coefficient. And when we solve it, how do we solve it? We assume the solution as x equal to a e raised to alpha t, and let us differentiate it. It is dx upon dt equal to a alpha e raised to alpha t, and further differentiate it again. So d square x upon dt square equal to a alpha square e raised to alpha t. And now let us put these values of dx over dt and d square x upon dt square in this equation. So a alpha square e raised to alpha t plus 2p a alpha e raised to alpha t plus omega square a e raised to alpha t equal to 0. We take this a e raised to alpha t common, and inside we are left with alpha square plus 2p alpha plus omega square equal to 0. And now we conclude that alpha square plus 2p alpha plus omega square is equal to 0, as it cannot be 0. So this equation is quadratic in alpha, and we know its solution. Solution is alpha is equal to minus 2p plus minus root of 4p square minus 4 omega square upon 2, and it has two roots. Further simplifying, alpha equal to minus 2p plus minus 4p square, sorry, root of 4p square minus 4 omega square divided by 2. So 2 cancelled and we are left with minus p plus minus root of p square minus omega square. So we have two values of alpha and the general solution of the equation. One e raised to power minus p plus p square minus root of p square minus omega square t plus a2 e raised to power minus p minus root of p square minus omega square equal to multiplied by t, where a1, a2 are arbitrary constant as happened in second order differential equation. Now here three cases arises. Depending upon the value of this root of p square minus omega square. If it is, whether it is real, that is p square minus omega square is real, 0 or imaginary. So first case is root of p square minus omega square is a negative quantity. Okay, so actually it should have been without root p square minus omega square is a negative quantity. So its solution is harmonic. For this, p is less than omega. Only then we can it can be negative. So p is less than omega. We take p root of p square minus omega square is equal to eta omega dash, where omega dash is new frequency and which can be seen that it is less than the original frequency. And omega dash is equal to root of omega square minus p square. This in this case is known as light damping or under damping. And its final solution is x equal to a naught e raised to minus pt sine omega dash t plus phi. Second case is this p square minus omega square is 0. It can be 0 if p is equal to omega. This is known as critical damping. And its final solution, because there should be two constant, is x equal to a plus bt e raised to minus pt. And the third case is p square minus omega square is a positive quantity. For this case, p should be greater than omega, and this is known as heavy damping. And solution of this is x equal to e raised to minus pt cos hyperbolic qt plus d sin hyperbolic qt, and here q is equal to p square minus omega square raised to 1 by 2. I hope you are with me. Am I audible? Are you with me? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let us realize all these cases one by one in Scilab. So I have opened Scilab console and let us go to application. I hope I go slow so that the new members can understand. I go to Xcos and this is the Pele browser where these Shastris are introduced as for artist different colors. The artist can choose different colors from his color palettes. So in the same way, we can take any functionality or any as per our requirements while simulating. So this is our editor, and in order to solve this equation, we will need two integrators. So I take the first integrator. This is my first integrator. This is, I again take another integrator. This is my second integrator. Then I will need a clock. So this is my clock. And then I will need a scope. So this is my scope to visualize the simulations. And then I will also need a gain block. Actually, I will need two but first I take the first one and then I take the second one. In the first part, I will not be needing the second gain block, but I will keep at some extra. And then I will also need this summation. In the first part, I will not this summation, but I have just kept it here alongside. So now I have all the items. Let us make the connections. So before making connection, let me change the orientation of gain block. So I double click it, I go to format and click mirror, and it changes its orientation. I also change the orientation of second gain block. So this is so. I will also change the orientation of summation, which I will need later on in the second part. So I have flipped it, actually mirrored it. So let us connect. I connect these two integrators. Yes, connected. Then I connect this just leave the key of the mouse when I want to turn it or take 90-degree turn, and then I join this way. Yes, connected. So here I will be having x double dot, here I will get x dot, here I will get x displacement. And let us connect this. I am also new to this. Yes, I have made the connection. And now I need to see the displacement. Here I will be feeding, in this gain block, I will be feeding minus omega square. I will be getting x from here, x double dot, x, and then I will be multiplying with minus omega square in this gain block. Okay, so I connect the clock this way, and now I need to see the displacement. So I start from here, go like this, and connect with this, and just click here. Orange, it means connected. So this will be help me in visualizing x, that is displacement. Then I also need to visualize the velocity. So I take it from here, second channel of the scope, like this, and connect it here. Orange, connected. So let me put the value of gain, minus omega square. So minus, bracket start, omega will be 2 pi f. So 2 star percentage pi is written as pi star, and f is taken as 1 hertz, that is 1 cycle per second. So this. So I have written minus minus omega square. So I need to write square. So caret 2. Now it is omega square minus omega square. Done. Now I also need to put the fix the initial conditions. So initial condition, when I double click this integrator block, then initial condition is 0. It is preset default. So I take velocity as 0. Velocity as 0 means that I have taken a pendulum, or I have taken a block attached to a spring, and I just stretch it and leave it without any velocity. That is, velocity is 0. Okay, so I will keep velocity, initial velocity as 0. Then I go to second integrator. Here in default is 0, but I will put 2. You can put any value, so I will take 2. So displacement is taken, initial displacement is taken as 2. That is, displacement at time t equal to 0 is 2. That is, when I leave that block attached to the spring, I have stretched that block 2 units. Okay. Now I also need to set other parameters. So I will set the clock. It is default value is 0.1. I will leave it as such. Later on I will adjust it, just so how it affects. Okay. Now I set the parameters of this scope visualizer. So I will leave all as such. It is 2 port scope, 2 channel. So by minimum vector, it is -1 initial. The default value is -1. I will change it to 2. Why? Because I have fixed initial displacement as 2. So it will go, because it will be a sine curve or cosine curve, so it will go from -2 to +2. So I have kept it -2. I cannot take value less than 2, but I can have value more than 2, that is -3. I can have that value. If I take value less than 2, then whole of the sine or cosine wave will not be visualized. It will be clipped from the top or bottom. And the second value denotes the velocity of the value of the velocity. So velocity will be a omega. X equal to a cos omega t plus phi. When I differentiate that, I get minus a omega sine omega t plus phi. So the amplitude is a omega. I have taken a as 2 and omega is 2 pi f, which approximated, putting the value of pi as 3.142, it comes out to be around 12. Okay, so 12. So I will take this value as -12. This is for the second channel, that is velocity. Similarly, I will fix the value of maximum value of this as 2 and 12. I think you understand why I am taking 12, because it will be a omega. A is taken, initial displacement taken as 2, and omega is 2 pi f, so 6.284. So around it is 12 plus actually. I need it somewhat higher. I can take it as 15. Okay, so refresh period is 30. I will keep it as 30. Default value is 30. So I think it is all. So I think everything is done. So let us see what is the. Okay, I go to simulation. I go to setup and set the time. And I will set it equal to refresh period. Initially, I have told in my presentation that I will keep it equal to final integration time is kept to refresh time. So 30 seconds. And I will keep all other things as such. that is 2 equal to default value. Now everything is done. Let us see the results. I click this execution button. So I think you are able to visualize or see these two curves, and first is the displacement and second is velocity. So displacement can be seen from -2 to 2, and this velocity can be seen around -12 to 12. Okay, I can show something more. What happens if I change this minus 0.1 clock? This period, if I add 0, 0.01, now I shall be having more points in my curve. So you let us see the effects. Now computer is taking more time. So you have seen it plotting. Let us take more points. 0.008, like this. Let us see what happens. Now see, you can see it plotting because it is plotting more points. So up till here it is simple harmonic oscillator without damping. Let us add damping. So to do that, I will first remove this. I will first remove this connection. You can do it, you can edit it. I have removed that, and now I shall use the other gain block and my summation. Why? Because now I shall be using that equation x double dot plus 2px dot plus omega square x. So I will keep x double dot on left hand side and transport two terms to the right hand side. So that will be minus 2px dot plus minus omega square x. So this first gain block will be this will supply us minus omega square x. The second will supply us minus 2p. Okay. So it is all right, although not very neat, but it's okay. So I will be using minus 2p. So this is to be connected to the velocity. So this is actually velocity. Now it is connected. If it is orange, it is connected. So you can see that this line is coming from here, that is velocity, and I am feeding it to this. So this will be supplying me minus 2p. Okay. So that's okay. And let us connect. Now these two terms are added here in this summation block, and let us feed it to this. So this actually there are some dots in this editor. You can see, you can take help of those dots to draw straight lines. So that's okay. Now it is orange, so it is connected. So now I can add damping effects. So the second block, this second gain block will be adding the damping effects. First gain block is minus omega square, and this one will be 2p, value of 2p. So let us add here gain block. Let us first take damping small. Let us take it to be 0.2. So 0.2, but with minus sign. I will show you that what happens if I take it plus sign, but here I will take it minus 0.2. Okay, and I will keep the it is minus omega square, so I will keep it as such as before, and all other things as such. And now I click the execution button. Let us see what does it display. Yes, it has beautifully shown the damping effects. Now you can see the displacement is amplitude is going on decreasing, and similar effect is with the velocity. So let us increase the damping. Earlier I have put it 0.2, now I will put it equal to 0.5. And let us see what happens. 0.5, click the execution button. Yes, now you can see the damping is more. So that amplitude decreasing fast as compared to earlier. Let us put it to be minus 1. Minus 1. And let us see what happens. All these three cases, first I have taken damping as 0.2, then 0.5, then 0.1. Sorry, minus 1. These three cases are for light damping, because it is still harmonic. So let us see. Yes, see, beautiful. So you can see it that as I am increasing the damping, the amplitude is decreasing fast. Okay, so these three cases, I can take more cases, minus 1.5, then 2, and so on. Let us take what happens if I take 2. See, yes, more quickly. Amplitude is decreasing more quickly. So I have taken 4 points for the case of light damping or under damping. Now what happens if I take that P equal to omega? Then I have to take the value of P to be 6.284. So this is 6.284. Let us see what happens. Now, as we have seen in the theory that for P equal to omega, we have critical damping. And I think everybody remember that critical damping is the case of deadweight galvanometer, or to making the deadweight, those pointer-like instruments. So let us see what happens. Yes, it does not complete even one oscillation. You can see it here. Similarly, the case for velocity. Although velocity does not come immediately to 0, but you can see that displacement dies quickly. Motion dies quickly, as is the case with deadweight galvanometer. The third case is that of over damping. In over damping, it does not go that quickly. That is, it dies out less quickly than critical damping. So I will put the value of P, how much? It must be more than 6.284. So let us put it 10. Done. And let us see the results. I press the execution button. I think you see that I have not changed other parameters. All other parameters are as such. So you can see this is a case of over damping. And if somehow you forget to put the minus sign, what happens? You can also be there. That is very beautiful. I did that mistake and I was surprised. That is, if it is not damping, what happens? If I take it as 2, then you can also see that. Oh, I have taken actually too much value. I should have taken small value, 0.2. I have not put minus. That is a mistake actually. So the amplitude goes on increasing. Actually, it is increasing. I think I still need to put it some less value. So you have seen that I have discussed 3 cases, that of light damping, under damping, critical damping, and over damping. So put it again as 6.284. Sign. Don't forget that minus sign. Yes. Yes. Okay. So let me summarize it. What we have seen. So this is the case of light damping, P less than omega. I have taken first P equal to 0.2, P equal to 0.2, and here you can see it 0.2, and the results were like this. Then I increased the value of P to 0.5, and then these were the results. Then I have taken increased P further, and it is P equal to 1, and we have got this result. And then we have put P equal to omega in case of critical damping, and the results are like this. And the third case is heavy damping, where I have put P more than omega, P equal to 10, and results were like this. So thank you very much. Now you can ask any questions. So do you have any questions? Please raise.
Hello, sir. I am Dr. Deepak More from Mumbai,
Okay,
and
sir.
nice presentation and a nice way of taking it to further one more step and adding.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yesterday I tried the problem on my PC and I am working on Linux system, but
Okay.
everything I did correct, but I could not get that final graph window. That used to come only blank. Whenever I used to run the simulation, I never I'm not still getting it. My graph in the graph window. Is there any thing that is happening
Okay,
there?
okay. I understood your problem. In the beginning, actually, you faced this type of problem. Actually, what must be happening, that you must not be fixing those parameters properly. That is, your range may be less. That is why you were facing that problem.
I checked twice all the parameters and I just set up according to the video sent yesterday also. And the problem is that I'm getting window blank, means I'm not yet getting even access also there.
Okay, so I think on the last day, or if time permit, we can take it after this presentation. You present your screen to us, and we will see. Shastri sir will see that what is happening.
Okay, I will talk to Shastri sir later. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
okay. You present your screen, and we will solve that problem.
okay, okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, sir?
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay,
Sir, I am Dr. Vivek from Government College, Nora.
okay.
Sir, can you please explain the function of second gain function and summation?
Yes, okay. Why not? Okay. So let me present my screen again. So is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is my second gain block. So what I have done is, let me show you on my this. Just a minute. So our equation is x double dot plus 2p x dot plus omega square x equal to 0. So while using this x cos, what we do, we take x double dot, that is highest differential on one side, and all other terms are transported to other side, minus omega square x. So in the first gain block, we have used this minus omega square, minus 2 pi f square. And in the second gain block, we have used this term for this. So we are using for this term. I think it is helpful. And then what we have done, we have, this is our first integrator, this is second integrator, this is clock, this is the C scope, and this is the first gain block, and this is the second gain block, and here we have used that summation. So this first gain block is for omega square minus omega square, and this is for 2p, and this is fed like this, and this is second integral block, and this is for scope, and similarly this is also fed to C scope. Here we have x, so we have used it for this minus omega square x, and the velocity is taken from here because it is x double dot, this is x dot, this is x, so velocity is taken from here and it is multiplied here. I hope it is helpful.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Clear.
Any other questions, sir? So
We modeled it using V. What happens if we model the resistive force to be proportional to V squared?
if we use then we have to use that x dot square.
Huh.
Then we have to take square of that term.
How will you take?
How will we taking that? So
तो अभी हम इसमें छोड़ दे रहे हैं ऐसे ही.
बाकी भी कर दे रहे हैं हमें चेंजेस.
आपको x cos में दिखाना पड़ेगा x dot squared कैसे लेंगे.
oh
यहाँ पे
शास्त्री
x
sir,
dot squared आ जाएगा obviously, that's what I'm telling. This
हाँ,
equation become 2p x dot squared. तो हम x dot squared कैसे लेंगे Scilab में? अभी कोई
Scilab
असाइनमेंट
में.
देना है ना इन लोगों को.
ओहो
The assignments are the two ways are two different types of assignments. You only asked on the day one, sir, how do we create student projects?
Yes.
It's a very
Yes.
simple question, but very, very easy if you understand how to change the interaction. So
Okay.
either you have to, so we are here changing the interaction. Assumption is it is proportional to V. Now we are saying it's
Okay.
proportional to V squared because
Yes.
you have two different types of damping, right? We have drag force and viscous force.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then similarly, we can have frictional force that will be modeled as square root of V. So somebody can take V, somebody can take V squared, somebody can take square root of V.
Okay.
So how do they implement that in Scilab? If they take V squared, for example, how will you implement in Scilab?
Then I think we have to. Sorry, I think that you have. I have to take your help.
See, स्क्वायर ब्लॉक्स होते हैं ना मैथमेटिकल
हाँ।
ऑपरेशन में जाके देखिए
Okay.
see,
Just a minute, sir.
see just like we had
Power block is there.
Okay. We need that power block.
power block, yes.
Power block.
Go to mathematical operations.
Mathematical
This
operation.
is what they
Yes.
should know from where to find what and all that. Now you
Yes,
go
yes.
down. Yeah, you see here there are so many different.
Just a minute, sir. No.
This is the power block. U power A. Okay, then A equal to 2 you can choose. Similarly, square root block is there. Then you will get square root of V.
Sir, power. Yes, this one.
That is the power block. So here नीचे square root block भी है अगर आपको square root चाहिए तो.
Yes, we have also this square root block.
Yeah. So now this power block, you double click the power block, double click.
Yes. The power
Here,
of.
instead the 1.5, you can give 2.
Okay, right. Yes, this way.
So say okay. So now this will connect here first. You have to flip it, and after the output of this will be given to the gain block like that.
After the output or sir before the.
No. First x dot should go as input to this. Then x dot squared will be output. That x dot squared should be given to the minus 2p block, gain block like that.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I think they understood
Somewhere
it.
here. Somewhere here, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yes.
उसको delete करके हाँ.
So, yes. Oh.
आपने पावर ब्लॉक भी चूज करके डिलीट कर दिए. पावर ब्लॉक तो मत चूज करो. हाँ, ओनली उसको डिलीट. So first
Yes.
input should go to you flip it first, mirror it.
Mirror it first. Yes. Now it should come from
यहाँ ही
here.
कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं x dot. just next to it.
Yes.
क्लिक करके पीछे जाके जब वो ग्रीन होते छोड़ देना.
Yes, done.
And this will go to the 2p.
Okay, like this.
Now you are having a different kind of interaction. Instead of proportional to
nice.
V, you have
Very
a V
nice.
squared interaction. Now you can run and see what happens for a typical value.
Shastri sir, I am not just teaching, I am also learning. Beautiful, sir, beautiful. Thank you very much.
So you can run this simulation and see what happens.
So,
ये सब वो डिलीट कर देना आप उसको डिलीट कर दीजिए. इसको भी डिलीट कर दीजिए. आई थिंक ये कनेक्ट नहीं हुआ आपकी समेशन ब्लॉक यहाँ ठीक ठाक. इसको डिलीट करके फिर से करिए.
yes. But it is still.
रन अगेन. अब भी कुछ वार्निंग दे रहा है.
वार्निंग दे रहा है. It is showing some problem.
आया नहीं कुछ भी.
It is showing blank. So again do. Sir, it is showing it blank. I think there is some problem here.
Double click and see.
It is
Input sports to science.
This might be because it is an overdam condition.
what condition, sir?
This is an overdam condition, so we bring it in underdamp or critically underdamp condition. Because if it is dead, then making the square will not make any difference.
Do it minus.
Minus
0.2.
0.5 or something you put.
Yes, sir. It worked.
Chalo. So one can try to understand the difference between the two models. Okay.
Yes.
So one typical assignment could be you take, you know, a one-dimensional ball falling down. Okay. So it can be falling through air, or it can be falling into water or glycerin, right?
Yes.
Then see how the results match, whether they match with V or V squared, like that. Okay.
Okay.
Right. I think we should thank Dr. Pawan for a very illuminating lecture. And I just wanted to make some of these comments only just to tell you that, you know, no problem is small. Actually, one more suggestion I would like to give is, you know, how to change the physical system parameter. So one thing that you can do further for this particular problem is, you know, you can make it a variable mass spring system. So the differential equation becomes a little more complicated because mass is going on changing with respect to time, right? And again, at what rate that mass is changing with respect to time will change the entire output. So if the rate of change is very small, then it will be the typical exponential damping. As you keep increasing the rate, it will become linear. And if you further increase the rate of, you know, loss of mass, then it will become concave. Can you imagine? It's a very beautiful paper in American Journal of Physics. I'll share it on the FDP site. And anybody who will try to solve it using XCOS, then we can publish that paper. Okay. Right. So, you know,
Thanks.
there are like that, you know, that's the advantage of simulation, right? You don't need to, you know, even if it's not an analytically solvable problem, you can easily simulate it still. And, you know, try to get some good results. So, okay, with these comments, now I request Dr. Sapna to take over. Dr. Sapna Sharma, she has done her PhD under Professor Ahluwalia in physics education research. And was once again a very good friend for more than 15-20 years now.
Yes.
And she is currently teaching as associate professor in St. Bede's College, Shimla. And she also, of course, got many awards in IAPT. And notably, she is the first awardee of National Competition for Innovative Use of Computers in Physics. And of course, we have some publications together, and her publications have good citations. Okay, so with this small introduction, actually our aim is not to give too long introduction so that we can save time.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so not that we cannot read out her entire biodata. That is not the intention here. Okay, and just of course you should know the speaker, so that's a small introduction. Thank you, madam. Please take over and talk to us about the simulation of forced oscillator.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Now, thank you very much, Professor Sastry, for your kind words of introduction. And you know, I'm also very thankful to you for giving devoting your time for teaching us this XCOS and Scilab. So today, what I'm going to present is just because of Sastry sir. He has taught us during these last few days this how to use Scilab and the application XCOS. So I would like to tell everybody that this is my first experience of using Scilab and XCOS. So I mean deeply and doing exercise and all. So I would like to share with you my screen and start. Okay, so I'm also learning with it. So forgive me if I make some mistakes. So, okay, so can I share the screen, sir?
Please share
Right.
your screen. and
Okay, okay. Okay, so can you see this, my presentation? Is it visible?
Yes, madam. Yes, please. You can continue.
Right. Okay, so hello everyone. Like yesterday, Sastriji talked about the harmonic oscillator, how we can go ahead with the harmonic oscillator. And today, in a previous lecture, Professor Pavan Sharma has explained very nicely the damped harmonic oscillator. So I'm also going one step ahead and trying to explain how we can simulate equation of motion of forced harmonic oscillator using XCOS. My presentation will be like starting with the brief introduction of forced oscillator and XCOS and Scilab, etc. I will construct the model and then we'll do the discussion part will be there. So, you know that I know that all of you are teacher and you know all this theory behind this harmonic oscillator, damped oscillator, undamped or forced oscillator. But still as a teacher, I want to recapitulate few things. Like when I say forced oscillator, the forced oscillations occur when an oscillating system is driven by a periodic force that is external to the oscillating system. And then in such a case, the oscillator is compelled to move at a frequency of the driving force. When the driving frequency is near the natural frequency of the system, the amplitude of the oscillation becomes large. And this is called resonance. So one phenomena when we talk about force oscillator, we talk about resonance. So I'm just revising these things that because I'm thinking that we are teacher and I'm going to do all this exercise in my classroom. So I'm thinking in terms of my students, what I'm going to teach them or discuss with them when I use Scilab or XCOS. So one thing I would like them to know that which they call resonance, how we can show them the resonance process using this XCOS. Then, you know, if a damped oscillator is driven by an external force, Pavan Sharma sir has talked about the damped oscillator, and the solution of the equation of motion has two parts. One is transient part and the other is steady part. And the transient part is because of initial oscillations of oscillator when it oscillates with its natural frequency, and this persists for a short period only. We all know that. And then after this, oscillator starts oscillating with the frequency of the external agency, and it continues as long as driving force is there. So this is known as steady state behavior. So my second point or second step will be to show what is transient state and what is steady state to my class or undergraduate students. Now, how can we go to show these points using Scilab or XCOS? So when we do problems in classical mechanics, we know that we have to solve or we have to use that equation of motion, which comes from Newton's law. And mostly we need to solve second order differential equation. And when we take their initial position, initial velocity, so initial conditions are given to the system, like Pavan Sharma has already explained why we need this initial position and initial velocity in a previous session. So, and we find analytical solution for the differential equation. And in case the force becomes very complicated, we use numerical analysis. There we use this Runge-Kutta method or Euler method. By using some languages, coding is done. You can use C language, Python or Fortran. But the highlight of this exercise is, which we are going today, is that if the coding is provided in the form of black boxes, so it means that we don't have to do the coding. We just have to use the black boxes, which have predefined basic function or a user defined function. So therefore our life becomes very, very easy. And when we use these black boxes, we call it the model-based simulation. So modeling of equation in the form of block diagram, we call it model-based simulation. We can do it in two ways, like Professor Sastriji was telling yesterday. We can use MATLAB or we can use Scilab. In MATLAB, the application is called Simulink, and in Scilab, it's called XCOS. But since MATLAB is it's commercial and Scilab is open source and free, we opt for Scilab. And for undergraduate purpose, it serves our all the requirements. So how do we go in model-based simulation? So I'm repeating a few things, like you already know this by previous two lectures, but I'm trying to repeat it so that the things become very easy when I start giving the live demonstration. Now, in step one, we model the equation of motion in the form of block diagram using XCOS, like Pawan Sharma ji has done, Sastri ji has done using his whiteboard. And then in step two, we construct the diagram in XCOS. We go to the XCOS application and draw the diagram over there. And in third step, we change the conditions, like conditions, parameters, time of integration, and we can try to see the output. So let's go to the step one. How do we convert equation of motion in model? So in my case, when I talk about the forced oscillator, the equation of motion is given by this blue colored equation. We have x double dot plus mu x dot plus omega naught square x is equivalent to f naught sine omega t. Now here f naught is amplitude of the driving force. So when we give some driving force to the damped oscillator, it's going to give us forced harmonic oscillations. Omega is the angular frequency of this driving force. Omega naught is called the natural frequency of the oscillator. Mu is the damping force. So this is our equation of motion, which we'll use in this problem. So what we do, we keep the highest order derivative alone on left hand side and take the rest of the terms to right hand side. So this is the key part, like just take the highest order derivative to left hand side. And then we start integrating it. So when we integrate x double dot, we get x dot, and then we further integrate x dot to get x. So this is that when we take all the terms to right hand side and only x dot is on left hand side. Now on my right hand side, you can see a screenshot. In this screen, with the help of this screenshot, I want to explain what we are supposed to do. So what we do, I said that x dot will be on left hand side, on right hand side, all other terms will be there. So when we integrate x double dot, so here we are trying to integrate x double dot to give us x dot. Then we use another integration block to get x. So once we get x dot and x, now you see that in my equation on right hand side, I have to multiply x dot by mu. So for this multiplying, like using all this mathematical operator, we use this gain block. Somebody was asking what is the use of gain block. So this is the use. Here we are supposed to multiply mu or the damping constant with x dot. So this gain block, here we multiply mu with x dot. So I will get my first term. And with the help of this second gain block, I will multiply x. So I'm getting x from here. I'll multiply it with omega naught square with the help of this gain block, and I'll get the second term. My third term is coming from this force generator. This force generator I have applied. My third term will come from here. Now what I have to do is I have to sum all these three terms, because right hand side is showing me these three terms should be summed up. So I sum up all these three equations with the help of this summation. Of course, I will take minus mu in this gain block. I'll take minus omega naught square in this block, and I will take sine omega t like this, right? So by summing all these three terms, I will use this summation block, and these three terms will be again fed to the first integration block. And this process will continue. This process will continue till I have given the last time of integration. So all these parameters will be fixed in these blocks when we start before we start our simulations. So this is my, the whole thing is given. Now I want to see the output. To see the output, I need a scope. So I use here a M scope here. So this is for output, and I need to see the integration time. So therefore I make use of a clock also. So I hope all the purpose of or the use of all these blocks is clear to everyone in case of a forced harmonic oscillator. Is it clear?
Madam, only one question, one thing, na, you should have put a plus F naught. Because it's already plus F
Yeah,
naught on the
yeah, yes. Sorry,
Okay, ma'am.
sorry. Yeah, this should be plus. I'm really sorry.
Continue, please.
Okay. So now let me go to step 2. I have to construct the block diagram. So for constructing this block diagram, once I have done this work theory part on my notebook, I can go to the application part, start Scilab, so and launch XCOS. So when we go to Scilab, we can launch XCOS in 3 ways. This is the way I have learned this XCOS. So I'm explaining it like that only, the way I have learned first time. So we can launch XCOS from the toolbar. So there is a toolbar over here, which will have this icon. You can press it to get XCOS. Second option is you go to applications, and from there you can choose this XCOS. And the third is, this is a console window of Scilab. You can type XCOS and you will be in Scilab. Okay, so once you are in XCOS, you will see these 2 windows. One is palette browser and other one is known as edit window. So we can use these black boxes from this palette browser, and we can do our work or construct that diagram in this edit window. And there is a list where of all the things which all the systems which we have, from where these blocks are going to come. Right, so that you can search yourself, or you can use the help of XCOS or Scilab to get the knowledge of all this. Most of the things we don't require actually. So I will just talk about those blocks which we need for a moment. So what we have to do is we just have to choose the block, just click it and drag it and come to the edit window. So now this was the basic information how we have to work in XCOS. Let me go to the demo part. And with that demo, what I'm going to explain is that I'm going to explain to how we can show, in case of a forced harmonic oscillator, we can show the transient and steady state. Then how we can vary the amplitude with the driving frequency and get the resonance curve at different damping constants. And we can also explain that if we have smaller damping constant, the resonance curve will be sharper. So these points can be explained by using these this type of a simulation of forced harmonic oscillator. And lots of more things are there which we can think that you will take them as an exercise. So I'll just stop this presentation and I'll go to Scilab to explain the things in Scilab. Okay, can you see this, the screen of Scilab?
Yes.
Okay, so when we say start Scilab, we see these 3 windows. This is a command history. This tells about all the commands which we have given to this in our say problem solving, and this is known as console window. Here I can type XCOS to get the XCOS. So now you can see that I have got these 2 windows. One is palette browser and other one is my edit window. So as I was explaining that in my case, I need to integrate X double dot twice. So therefore I need integral block. So this is actually the recently used block. So I have used them. So they are coming here. Otherwise you get this integral block from the continuous time system. If you click this, you will get this continuous time system. You'll get the integral block. And from sources, we can get this a clock and function generator. For sync, we can get the scope and clock and like this. And from mathematical operator, we can get the gain block and the summation block. So I'm clicking and getting these 2 integral block to my edit window. So because I have to integrate X double dot into X dot, I have to get an X dot to X. Then these two terms which I'll get, they have to be multiplied by the damping constant mu and the omega square. So therefore I need two gain block. So I bring two gain block to this screen here. And then I need to have the summation block because I have to take the sum. And one more thing, I need to have the generator, sine wave generator. Yes, sine wave generator I need to have, because I have to give some driving frequency. So I need all these blocks over here. Then the next step is I need to get the output. So therefore I'll need a clock. So I place here a clock, and I also place here a scope. So one output I have to show. So therefore I'm taking only one scope with one terminal. So then we just have to connect the things. So these things already Sastry sir had talked how to connect. So I'm just doing this connection. So bear with me. Oh, sorry. What I have to do is I have to flip this gain blocks. Yes, that's why they were not connecting. So I'll go to format and flip it or mirror it. Mirror will change the position horizontally, and if I'll flip, it will change the position vertically. So I will change the format by using this mirror for all this. Okay, and okay, so now let me connect them. So I've connected this. I will connect the other part also. And this is one, and then I will have to see that mu x dot. So here I have to take the damping term. Okay, and this I have rotated, and you know that there are three terms. There were three terms on right hand side. So I need to have one more port here in summation. So I just right click, go to block parameter, and in block parameter I add here one more terminal by adding one semicolon and one. So now you can see there are three terminals over here. I can connect these three terminals. So one terminal has gone. Then I can take the second gain block and connect it here. You can align these line also. And sorry. So this is connected now. And these three summation has to go, some of these three terms need to go to the first integrator. First integral block, it has to go. Okay, so this is the basic connections I have given. I have not given the values to these parameters. So now I'll just give the values. So here, this is going to give me velocity. So velocity for initial condition, velocity was 0, as Dr. Pawan Sharma has explained very nicely. So I will not change the parameters for velocity. This is going to give me displacement. So I will change the value of the displacement. Let it be 5. And I have to give her the value of omega square x, because this is connected to x. So I will put here the value for omega square. So omega square is minus then 2 pi f. So percentage pi, this will go, and percentage, multiplied by frequency f, I'm going to take, say, 1. So initially, to make the things simple, I'm taking frequency as 1. So this is my first term, omega square x I have given. Now, this is mu naught x. So second term is mu x dot. So here I have to give the value. So I'll put it minus 0.1. Suppose I take the damping constant to be 0.1. So this I have given. Now let me come back to this. So magnitude, suppose I take the magnitude in a generator 2, and frequency is, this is frequency is positive. So I'll take 2 star percentage pi and multiplied by f. So let me take it 1 only, and this thing is given. Okay, so now I want to connect this output also, because I have to see the output. So I'll connect this, and because I need to have x, so I will connect it here. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, from where this sine function is taken?
From where
Sine
I've taken the sine function has come from the source. If you go to sources here,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, in sources there is a sine wave generator. Let me see. Oh, in recently used.
On top only, madam, generate sine.
Where is it?
On top, second row, generate sine.
Yeah. Here, this one.
You can go down. That is having an F.
This is having F signal 1.
Go down.
Yeah, I have seen somewhere. I have used this one only, generator sine. If you see the recently block, I have used this only.
Okay.
I've used this only, recently
Yeah.
block. So this you will get from sources. Is it okay?
Yes. One more thing, madam. I think you have given omega naught squared. You didn't give. You give omega naught.
Yes. Thank you. So, yes. Thank you. So now it's fine. Okay. So I'll go to clock, change the parameter here also, and then this I'm going to take 0.
Hello, ma'am.
And here, since I'm using -5 and 5, because I've given the value for displacement as 5. So I'm taking the minimum value to be -5 and maximum to 5. And then I take the refresh period as 200. So let me simulate it. I'll take since the refresh time and final integration time should be same. So I take 200 and then I simulate it. Yeah. So I have got this curve, which is showing me the transient state and the steady state. So my first part is done, that we can show the steady state and the transient state of force harmonic oscillator to our students.
Hello, ma'am.
I'm sorry to disturb you again, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in sine function, what you have given the input?
In sine function?
What you have given the input?
Okay. So in sine function, I have just changed the magnitude to 2. You can keep in 1 also, doesn't matter. And frequency is 2 pi f. 2 pi and f. For this moment, I have taken the same frequency as I have given it natural frequency. So I have taken it 1. The frequency I have taken 1. 2 pi f. Omega is 2 pi f. Is it okay?
Okay.
So first part is over. Now I'm coming to the second part. Is there any question regarding the first part?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Summation, there are initially only 2 ports for summation.
Yes.
Then how to get another one for generated force?
Yes. Ma'am, what you have to do is go to the summation sign, right click it. There is block parameter.
Okay.
And when you click block parameter, you will see this window. Here, number of inputs or sign vector, it's mentioned. Number of inputs or sign vector. Give a semicolon and you can add 1.
Okay.
Okay, so in this way you can increase the number of ports.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So should I move ahead? Okay. So if there's no question, I'm moving ahead. Now my first part is over. So you can change the parameters, and you can show this steady state and transient state for different values of mu, damping constant. As Pawan Sharma sir was explaining, you can take different values of mu and see what happens, what is the effect of. So this is an exercise for you. You can vary the parameters and check what will happen to this state, transient and steady state. What is the behavior? Okay. For second part, now, in my presentation, in my PowerPoint, I've said you that along with showing steady state and transient state, we can talk about the resonance. So for that, we need to have some data, because we have to plot a graph. So for plotting that graph or getting that data, we need to have one more box from here, and that is known as workspace. That is workspace. I'll tell you what is the function of workspace. Let me find out where is the workspace. I'll go to recent, and here workspace is somewhere.
It will be in sinks, madam. Sync.
No.
Because it is
I have
trying to
already
dig
used it,
data,
so
right?
I'm trying to get it from there. Okay, so I have to workspace. So there is a block. It's in the, as Sastriji sir is saying, that it's in sync block. So a sync source. So you can, syncs. You can go to syncs and get this workspace. The function of this workspace block is that we need to have data. So this takes this data to the console window. Am I right, Sastriji? This is what I have understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Basically, what do you want to plot? You want to plot the resonance curve, right? That means you want to plot steady state amplitude with respect to frequency.
Yes.
So how to obtain steady state amplitude? So that's why we want to see the data now. So visualization is over. Now you have to pick the data points. So
right.
But ma'am, will it change frequency on its own, or every time we have to?
Right now, for one frequency, you are getting steady state amplitude. Then you have to change frequency.
And every time this worksheet will note down the value.
No, sir. Let me explain it.
Okay.
Let me explain it. I'm just going to explain it. So the only thing is, first you get this workspace. That box, you will get it from that palette and bring it here. And I'm going to make some changes in this workspace. I am going to increase the size of buffer. That is the sample size I'm going to increase. And this is the variable name. I have kept it A only. So let it be A only. So this is the name I have given it to it. So now I will connect this workspace. What I need is, I need time and the amplitude or position, maximum amplitude. Now I need, so I will connect it with this clock, and I will connect this part to this X. Okay. So I've connected it, and that's it. So let me simulate it again. So I'm getting this simulation. So I will see the simulation over here. My idea is to get the data to this console window. So that is the function of this workspace, because I need to plot a graph. So I go to this XCOS and I invoke this thing. Okay. So for that, the command is that I say let X is equivalent to, my variable is equivalent to A, because I've given it a name A dot values. So this is going to give me the value, the amplitude, and T is equivalent to A dot time. I can even plot. So this will get the values over here. I can even plot the graph. For once, I'll show it to you. Plot t and x. Okay, so it must have given me a block. See, it has given me a this plot in blue color. Okay, so we can plot the same graph over here also. After that, since we want to know the value of amplitude, so what we'll do, we'll take, let me first see the size of my, variable. Okay, it's 20,001, it's fine. This is the way Sastri ji has taught us the things. So maximum value of amplitude, I'll take the range 19,000 to 20,000 because I've given the sample size to be this maximum and this. So maximum value I've got is 3.171344. Okay, so now you need to have some type of a spreadsheet so that you can say, or you can note it down in your notebook and then you can plot a graph in your spreadsheet. So for a moment, I will go to GNumeric spreadsheet and can you see this? So here,
Yes, we can see it.
So here I am going to plot frequency with amplitude. So I have made two columns. So here I'll just leave few terms here, few boxes because I'll take the lower frequency also. If you remember that for this simulation, I have taken the frequency to be 1. Okay, so let me go there back. I'll show you. I have taken this driving frequency to be 1. If you see it here, it's 1. Okay, so let me take some lower values. Suppose I take 0.90. The driving frequency is 0.90. I simulate it. Okay, so the simulation is done. You will get the graph also. Yeah, so you'll get the graph also and I'm doing it for damping constant 0.1. If you remember, I have taken here the damping constant to be 0.1. So here I've taken the frequency 0.90 and I have to see the amplitude. So I will go back and I'll repeat that process, X value. Then I'll say my P value. And then I'll say what is the maximum value. So this is coming out to be 0.266. So I'll copy it from here and I'll go to the spreadsheet and put this value. So next time, again, I'm going to change the frequency here. This time now I'm going to take it to say 95. I'll take 3-4 values and then plot a graph and simulate it again. So you will see this curve here. You can see that curve in console window also. So again, I will repeat this process, X values. Then every time I need the value X and P and then maximum value. So this time I'm getting it as 0.51. So I copy it and put it here. This Control V, this value was for 0.95. So let me take one more value here, 1.1 I'm going to take. So let me increase the frequency to 1.1 and run this simulation. So when I run it, I will get the graph also. So graph here, I'm getting this graph, this plot I'll get. And I'll go to the console window again. This is the function of workspace, which I have attached. So I will get the X value, I'll get E value, and then I will take the maximum value. So this is 0.24. Control C, and so I've got 4 values. Control V. So I can plot the curve here. So then I can just plot the curve. Insert chart, any spreadsheet if you see, and I'm getting this curve, resonance curve. Can you see this curve? Are you able to
Nice.
see?
Nice. Yes.
Yes. So we can, for one damping constant, I have got this curve, right? For next time, what I can do is I can change the value of this damping constant. I can make it 0.5 or anything I can take, and then I can repeat this whole process, run this simulation and repeat this whole process. Okay, so by repeating all this process, what I've done, I've collected 2 values. Is this clear up to this step? Clear, things are clear? I'm not getting any response.
Yes, very much clear. Very much clear.
Okay, then fine, I'll go move ahead. So thank you. So I'll go ahead. Now, if you want me to do it for 0.5, I can do it. Otherwise, I'm going to show you. This is the curve. I'll show you the spreadsheet actually, which I have done by doing this exercise with when Sastriji was teaching us.
Ma'am, may I ask you a small question? Sorry to disturb you. What was the value of F here?
Frequency. Yes.
No. This F sine omega t was there, no? That coefficient was there.
Okay, sir. So,
Yeah.
sir, if you see, I have kept the magnitude here to be 1, 2.
Okay, so F is 2 here.
You can have it any 1 or 2, depends upon.
Okay. No, just I would. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir. So this is the now I'm just going to show you the spreadsheet which I have made. Like I have taken the various values of frequencies, 0 starting. I've taken here in this just now I have taken 2, 3 values. But if you take the frequencies 0.9, 0.92 small values, this is for the damping constant 0.1. Then I repeated this whole process with the damping constant of 0.5. And you know that I got these 2 curves and these 2 curves. So these are the different ways of representing the curve, the same data I have taken. So from this curve, we can easily tell our students about the resonance curve, like what is the behavior of driving frequency with the amplitude. For lighter frequencies, amplitude is very small. For resonance, the amplitude increases. For higher, y becoming 0 and all. And when you increase the damping constant, the resonance curve, the sharpness of resonance curve decreases. All these facts can be made, all these concepts can be made very clear to students by making use of this simulation. So I hope things are clear up to this point. And now I can, I'll just conclude by saying, giving you these type of exercise we can give that to students. Now we can make students to explore how the solution of equation depends on various parameters. We can vary the different parameters. We can take different values of mu. I have taken 0.1 and 0.5. Even you can try by taking different values of damping constant and get the resonance curve. And we can study the velocity and acceleration of forced oscillator versus driving frequency curve, and also the Q factor of forced oscillator. So this can be taken as exercises. These were the references which I have used for making this presentation. And thank you very much for your attention.
Ma'am, I would like to ask you certain thing because this is very interesting topic, forced oscillator. May I ask, sir? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Ah,
sir.
so
I'm
the,
trying to close all the windows so that I can.
okay.
minimize the things and I'll come back to the meet, and then I think then the thing will be better. Yes. I'll stop I'll stop presenting, and hopefully I will be able to answer the question. Yes.
Yeah, because when we teach in the class, this F especially is very important parameter, and as we increase the F value, we get the spine actually that is going down, and we get F, very large F, maybe F equal to 20 or something like that, of that order. The motion becomes very chaotic. So in between the values, going F 0.5 to 20, we get various harmonics. So, have you ever observed any of those things in this?
No, sir. No, sir. I
Okay.
would say that I have not. Because
Okay.
from the last 1 week or 2 weeks, I mean, I'm trying to work on this Scilab and Xcos. So this much exercise I could do. I'm frankly speaking, I
No,
have
no.
not gone much detail.
Oh,
But I would
okay.
like to do. But I would like to do, because now I have understood the way the things go in Scilab or Xcos. Now I would like to do.
Okay.
Any other question, please?
Madam, I would like to learn how you pick those maximum values.
Pardon, sir. Your voice is not clear. Actually, can you repeat?
Okay, how you pick those maximum values in Scilab? You know the second part. In the second part.
Sorry, sir. I'm still not able to.
Okay, sorry. Actually, I want to know the second part. How you pick those maximum values?
No,
MIT?
sorry, I was not able to listen. Sorry. Can you just repeat the question? What is the problem?
Uh, I want to know that how you put the maximum value in the second part. I think I am not audible.
In the second part, sir, ma'am has plotted all the values. So how that can have done?
You should
Okay.
do it. No, that is assignment for you. That is what we told. No, assignment is must. Only those who do assignment will get the certificate. Okay. The assignment is she has done and showed you for 0.1. Now you have to repeat the calculation for 0.5.
No, sir, question is how do you do that actually? How do you pick the maximum values?
That's what she explained in 0.1. No, when she took mu equal 0.1.
Sastriji, there is a Pavanji, there is a command. I mean, I was saying now there is a command. If you want,
Maximum value. You didn't show, madam, that one.
Yeah.
You show
So,
again,
and
na?
we have
How to
taken the
obtain the
range.
maximum value. She obtained using the max command. Show the command, madam.
Yes.
Okay.
She has used the max
If you
command.
want, I can. If you want, I can show it to. Yeah. Can you
Show
see
again,
this?
madam. Show again.
Pavanji,
That is the
can
central
you see
part,
this?
na? How to get steady
Pavanji,
state
can you see
amplitude. If they are
this?
not understood, show again. Yeah.
Yeah.
You present your screen again.
Okay.
You have to
Sorry.
present your screen.
Yeah. I have stopped presenting it. I will present the screen. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah. So Pavanji, this is the command x equivalent to a dot values. This is going to give me the x value. Can you see this command at the end?
I can see.
Okay. So
Okay.
then there is another command t equivalent to a dot time. This is for the time with the semicolon. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then I have given a command maximum value of x within a range 19,000 to 20,000. If you remember, in a workspace, I have taken the value 20,000. That was the maximum number of sample number. So I am
Okay.
taking the range 19,000 to 20,000. Okay. And then it's giving me this value, maximum value.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So I have done it for 0.1, and the exercise is for you to repeat
Dr.
this whole
Sapna?
process for damping cost. Yes.
Dr. Sapna, if you use this command display and then X semicolon T, I think it will show all the readings and that will.
Okay.
add
Yeah,
to my-
ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Display command is also there, which is used in console. Yes. Thank you.
See, there'll be too many points. Lee, I'll
Yes.
tell you actually what is happening. See, there'll be almost 2000 points or something. Okay.
Okay.
And then what we want is actually steady state amplitude. If you take max of the whole thing, you will be getting that value of 2, what we have given.
Mhm.
Okay. But whereas we want the maximum value towards the end of the data.
Mhm.
That's why we take it into a, a variable. And then that size of the variable will tell you how big that is. And then we want only the maximum value when it has reached steady state. So only in the last 100 points or something, we'll ask for the maximum. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, what happens when you dump the screen, it becomes very confusing. करके dump करके देखिए, semicolon निकाल के देखिए पता चलेगा.
हाँ, उसमें पूरा डेटा आता है, पूरी वैल्यूज आएंगी बहुत सारी.
दिखाइए डेटा दिखाइए, ढूंढिए उसके अंदर
actually those-
मैक्सिमम कहाँ है. जब करेंगे तभी तो पता चलेगा ना क्या प्रॉब्लम है.
X value, I will delete this. So you see that I'm getting these X values.
Now you tell me where is the steady state amplitude in that?
Oh, very difficult.
So that's why semicolon is there.
Not for that. Semicolon is not to dump the data, but even if you dump the data, you cannot really make out where the maximum is. You can actually, if you browse to the data, you will see.
No. Yes.
Somewhere it will become maximum and again it will become minimum. So that is a peak.
Yes.
That's also okay. You can pick from there.
Yes.
Okay, but then every time you have to keep searching for it. Instead, if you learn 2 commands, then you can automatically get the steady state amplitude.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Now,
Okay.
Swapna madam, you do for one more value at least to show them 2-3 times how the steady state amplitude is obtained.
Okay. So you want me to repeat that transient and steady state for different values of? I'll do that.
Frequency, yeah, at least one graph you should get, right? Then the second graph they will get on their own.
No, one graph I've already got.
That's enough then. That means you have done it for 7 times. You have done it 7 times. Have you done it for 7 different frequencies?
5 frequencies, 4 frequencies.
Okay, 5-6 frequencies you have done. That's enough, I think. Then they should have got the idea. But anyway, you just focus on those 3 commands once so that they become clear.
Yes,
Because
I've
they have to
done
repeat
it
the
for
calculations.
4. Yeah, I've done it for 4 values, and so the command were this only. X equivalent to A dot values. Then
Now you say size of X.
yes. No, that I've already explained. I mean, if you want,
Show
I can
them.
repeat it. X
Repeat it,
equivalent
madam,
to-
because see,
Yeah.
they're all doing
Yes.
first time now, so it takes some time to grasp it.
Yes, definitely. Even I have faced this problem. X equivalent to A dot values and semicolon. Then T equivalent to A dot time. These are the commands. And then I take maximum of X.
If you type only X, then what will happen, man? Max of X only?
Okay, if I don't give the range,
Yeah.
Like max of X, you will get the original initial amplitude that you have given for
yes,
X
so
at
it's
time
coming
t
out to be
equal to
5. Yes, the initial value I have given.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can explore all these things. So then I give the range and get the value for this. Oh, X haven't defined. Yes, so I have to repeat the whole thing. This, then time, and then maximum this. What happened? Oh, I've taken it capital X. It should be small x, na? Because here I've defined it as small x. So that is the mistake.
Yes.
we can, repeat the process here. We can change the frequencies. Here I've taken 1.1. I can do this process with the, I said that with this 0.05, 0.5 damping constant. And this damping value constant can be changed. So exercise is given to you now. Is it okay? Can I close it down or you want
Questions?
to?
Any questions? Any further questions are there?
Yeah.
Please ask. No problem. We still have 10-15 minutes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Please ask question.
Kindly upload the videos like yesterday, so that would be helpful.
Yes, yes. And actually, all of you can also look at one PDF file we have given. In that, all these details are written.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you.
In the FDP side, FDP WhatsApp group, we have given a PDF.
That
So if
is
you
very
follow the
helpful,
PDF,
actually.
you will be able to get the answers.
Yes.
Okay, now I would like to mention one thing. See, on the yesterday when I did nonlinear pendulum, okay, to that if you add the damping and this forcing frequency, then it becomes a chaotic oscillator. Okay. See, this is how, that's why we are building slowly, right? So we did simple harmonic oscillator with assumption sin theta equal to theta. Then we did without the assumption sin theta equal to theta. That is called the nonlinear oscillator. And today we added damping, and then you add force frequency. So only thing that you all have to do is that theta you have to pass it through a trigonometric function, and then give it. Then it becomes a nonlinear pendulum, nonlinear driven pendulum. And a nonlinear driven pendulum, if you keep the amplitude to be greater than 1, it becomes a chaotic oscillator. It's one of the easiest and beautiful ways to come up with a chaotic oscillator. Okay? Interesting, na? Okay then, if everybody is satisfied, then we will end with a prayer for world peace. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. See you all tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Very nice.
Okay, thank you.